Hi my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time coming across my channel. My name is Edna, and today I really want to talk about something personal about my life. This is not a self-pity video, or it's not a video looking for validation or some form of empathy or none of that. It's just, let's say, a self introspective video, okay, that I want to share with people. If there's anyone who's going through something similar, or there are people that are now coming up who find this video useful in a way. So that's why I'm making this video. I also want to look back on this video in the future and measure up to how I've done since this video. So this is also for me. I've been thinking about something. I have been looking back at my life, and I'm almost 30. Yeah. That is very, what's the word? Difficult to say out loud, because I really envision my life differently than what it is now, and I'll get into that in a bit, okay? But I have been looking back and thinking, have I really lived my life, and have I done and accomplished all the things that I set out to do? And the answer is no. I haven't lived and haven't accomplished much in my 3 decades of living. And that to me brings me a certain regret, or a certain sense of sorrow that I hate to admit, but it's there. I want to break this down into the different facets of my life so that you would understand where I'm coming from. Looking back, I really think I had a great start. My parents did their best to bring me up in the fear of the Lord, provided my needs. I went to the best of schools, okay? When I look at my background, my dad is big on education. My dad loves to educate, to inform, to give you the best of education. So I went to the best schools, and I was a fairly good student. I mean, manageable. I passed my exams, and all of that. And when I went to high school, I think that is when I reached my peak, okay? Because I was top of my class in high school. I was the best student. I won a scholarship. I was not paying fees at a point because I was always almost first, or almost always first in my class. If I wasn't first, I was second, but mostly first. The only time I think I dropped was when I got to third, because I can get complacent, that's one flaw. Yeah, so yeah, I was very good, and quite quickly everyone began to see that this girl is really smart. I don't know how that happened, because in primary JHS I wasn't known to be really smart. I was good with languages, so with French everybody knew that, oh, this is the French girl, she's really good at French. But in high school I was a bit of all round, except maths. It wasn't going well. So fast forward to uni. Uni was different for me. Even going to uni, I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do. My dad had always kind of instilled in me that I would do law, and it was prestigious to want to do law, and I believe I would do law. But I don't know, when I looked at my grades, they weren't so prestigious for law. I think I should have tried to at least apply for it, but I didn't. I rather went with something I was good at, language. So I did French. I chose French, and even that I was a bit laid back about it. There was this sort of lack, or absence of ambition, entering the university. And I don't know if anyone else noticed, but well, I got in. I did French, Spanish, and I was a good student. I mean, I got my A's. I did French, Spanish, and linguistics. I got A's. Linguistics was difficult for me. I don't know. It wasn't. And when I don't have an interest in it, I don't push for it. Another flaw. It doesn't matter if the course is not something you like. You are there, so do it. Give it your best. But that wasn't my case. But all around, I was a good student. I went for a year abroad. I was offered a scholarship to go for a year abroad. Yeah. And when we went for a year abroad, we did this test where we're put into different class groups according to our abilities, and I was number one on the list. Like, hello. Different schools, Tech, Legon, Central, School of Languages, and I was number one. I became very popular. Let's backtrack a bit. In high school too, I was very popular for another reason. I did some acting in school. I acted as a wiki king, and I was also popular there in school. And I think people had so much expectations, and I had hopes for myself that I would enter into acting, but I never did enter into acting because, well, in Ghana, your parents want you to, do a course that is going to give you a stable source of income or a job later. And acting isn't exactly, you know what I mean? Like, the chances of you getting a job, a stable source of income, it's not a 10 over 10, okay, when it comes to that. So, those kind of dreams, I didn't even voice them out because I knew, no, my parents, no, it's not going to work. I need to do something more stable. And so I understand them, and that's what I did. Let's come back to present day. We are in Legon campus. I was okay, but then after entering into, ministry, I'm talking about church, becoming active at church, I think I fell back, with my studies. I began to not go for class, ignore my studies, and give more to church, which is another flaw, And I remember a friend coming up to me and talking to me about a verse in the Bible saying that a false balance is an abomination before the Lord. And that was her way of advising me that I need to get straight with my books. And I don't know, I don't know, I ignored that. So that was when my grades began to really dwindle, and I should have watched that, but I didn't. I went on about my day and all of that. Coming to serving God or getting into church, I joined a ministry and I dedicated my whole life into the ministry. I gave it my all. And let me tell you, those days of my life are the best years of my life. From my teen, I think from 18, 19, 20, 21, all the way to 25, 24-ish. Those were the best years of my life. They were filled with so much calmness, peace, and a certain connection to God, an understanding of the things of God, something that I didn't have earlier, or something that I didn't really understand up until then. And so for me, those were the best years of my life so far. But that came with also an imbalance with my academics, and as I said, I fell off. And yeah, school didn't seem that important to me, even though I was warned about it. After school, I immediately entered into a master's program because my dad, as I said, is big on education. He wanted me to go back to school right away. He didn't want me to work and see money and be like, oh, I can afford it, I'm not going to educate myself. He did not want that for myself. He wanted me to go as high as I can go and, make a living from my brains. Do you get it? And he felt I could do that. So I registered into a master's program that I felt, at the time was something I was interested in, but I didn't weigh if I could really do this, And I did enter into it, and then 1 year into my master's program, I got unemployment, to become a teacher at a school. Prior to that, I'd been teaching here and there, but nothing official, nothing, affiliated with an institution. And this was big for me because I didn't have much experience, and I was elated. So I was still doing my master's when I started working, and I think one of the things that even helped me gain employment was because I was doing a master's program. And so right after that, I could, elevate. But sadly for me, I could not finish my master's program. I cannot really tell you how disappointing that was to my family, especially my dad. And that is like an albatross I still carry on to this day. And right now, I don't know if I can go back finish it because I did 1 year. It was left with one other year. It was a thesis, and I don't know. I can't do it. I can't do it, and I don't know why. I can't explain. I've tried. If you watch my vlogs and you followed my journey, you can see that there was this point where I tried to go back and finish it, but I just couldn't. And up to now, it's something that is there. I've not done it, and I don't know. Should I change courses? Do I do another course? And even if I want to do another course, right, that is also going to take money. I don't have answers, and yeah, that's that on my education, right? So career wise, I've worked for a while. I've worked for a few years, and it has been quite a journey. I can't speak much about that, but I want to go to something else. But before I go to the other thing, I feel very unaccomplished when it comes to my education, and sometimes my friends kind of remind me of, oh Edna, you were brilliant in school. What happened to you? You were an A student. What happened? You kind of fell off. And it's so hard. And sometimes even blending with my friends who have gone ahead of me academically is so difficult because I see the kind of detachment they have with me because I'm not there or I'm not as ambitious, and that really hurts. There are times where I've helped people, get certain things, maybe documents. I've gone to school to work out certain things for them, and they have gone higher in life, and I'm happy for them, right? But then I think to myself, what about me? What am I doing with myself and my education and the way forward? And I feel like sometimes people detach from me because of that. Maybe it's just my brains or it's just my mind, but I can't shake it off. Like, some friends kind of look down on me because I'm not as ambitious, and that's also another thing. That should be a flaw because I don't know if it's a flaw. I'm not as ambitious as everyone else. I aspire for greater things for myself, but I'm not as ambitious as they are. But anyway, so away from academics, let's come to relationship. This is probably the part of my life where I rate the least. I haven't had good experiences with relationships. I don't know where it stems from. Sometimes I feel I know the source because I had an incident that really changed the trajectory of my life, and I don't want to talk about it now, but it really altered my relationship with men, and I don't know how to fix that. And I have, met people, dated people, but it always ends in in disaster, And it's not that they are always the toxic ones. Sometimes I am toxic because I am carrying baggage from another relationship and I'm bringing it here, and it's like, and it's been hard, to say the least. Going forward, I decided to put a pause on that and just work on my internal being, work on what is within, and my self-esteem and my values as a person. Because if you don't have that right, if you don't have that in a good place, when you get with someone, it comes into question. And especially when you get with the wrong person, it's just recipe for disaster. And yeah, my self-esteem has improved over the years. I really had very bad self-esteem. It's more of seeking love and validation from people and being a people's pleaser. It's been very bad. And I think when I bring that into the relationship, it doesn't end well. And I met someone I thought, oh, this could be the one. That was back in uni. I didn't even have a kind then, but he was amazing to me. He was everything to me. Not everything, like my everything. Like, he had qualities that I felt, wow, this is wonderful. He loved God. He was a disciplined person. He was ambitious. He loved people, which is very important to me. He was kind. and he saw the good in people. And I think that is like the top quality for me. And he wanted to improve himself all the time and better himself. And I loved that. He was creative as well, and that resonated with me. But we couldn't be together because of something I can't talk about. But we, separated, and I really hope that we would reconnect. And we did reconnect after so many years, and I go on a date with this person, and this person's a totally different person. He's not the person I knew in school, And of course, I had changed. I was not the Edna he knew in school, but he did not want to have something to do with me in that sense, and he wasn't as empathetic and as kind and soft as the man I knew then. He was different, and that broke my heart again, because not being with him was heartbreaking, and seeing a different side of him, or seeing how he had evolved into someone else that I just couldn't resonate with, was another heartbreak, and I knew that was it. So from then we went no contact, because there's nothing to explore there. It could have worked, but again, life and the happenings of life. I'm trying to think of things I have accomplished, and I can't seem to find anything, because when it comes to education, I haven't been able to ace that. When it comes to relationships, it's a mess. So what at all have you been able to accomplish, Edna? I think the only thing I can be proud of is I have been a good sister. If not for anything, I think I'm a great sister. I've been a great sister, and that's my only accomplishment. I have also put myself out there on social media, something that I should have done years ago, but I couldn't. But now I'm more confident to share my life with people and to share my creativity with people, and that means a lot to me, because I know I am creative, and I know I can do things and accomplish things creative wise, artistic wise. But I was always like, but now I'm doing it. So yeah, that's probably it. When it comes to my relationship with God, I don't even know. I don't know. I used to be very good with God. We had a good thing going. We were locked in. Remember I said my teen years and my early 20s, getting to mid-20s, were the best years of my life? It was because of God. It was because God was really present in my life. The other years, he was there, but I didn't have a good relationship with him as I did then. It was the peak of my relationship with God, and it was the best years. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about anything. It was about him and me, and a certain calmness and peace that I can't explain to you, and so many things happened, life happened. I joined a church, and the wrong church, and honestly it was like a cultish organization, and that wrecked my relationship with God. And afterwards I changed. I had some very bad experiences, and it changed me at my core. And sometimes I can't recognize myself, because the Edna I knew then stood for this and believed in this, and the Edna I know now doesn't mind this and does this and accepts this. And it's like, and it's sad, and sometimes I can't recognize myself, but sometimes too, it's like having two personas. You've been in church, you grew up in church, you were brought up in church, you loved God and lived for him and served him, and then there's this part where you were disappointed by God and man, and you went into the world and experienced life, and it was terrible and destroyed you. And now you come back and you sit with yourself, and you have this faith, right? It's still there, but you are changed by the the happenings and certain habits and certain things that have happened in the world. So it's like two merged, and it's fighting against each other, but it's you. And what I learned with that was we need to be attentive to our children, and it's great to have a strong parent presence in your life and have like a father figure present, mother figure very present. And you should have a relationship with your children that no matter how much they mess up or how far they go away from what you've instilled in them, they can come back to you, to safety, and open up to you. And that's something I aspire to be for my kids, if ever God blesses me with kids, because that's what that experience with that church taught me, and how much people can manipulate a person with religion and faith, and the need to be loved and accepted, and so many other lessons that, after so many years, I'm still learning and discovering for myself. Yeah. Have I failed? Have I tried? Have I survived? Is it time to live? I don't know. All in all, I want to say God has been good to me. He's been merciful. He's guided me. He's helped me. Yeah. It's just, I need to re-trust him to do that for me again, as he did when I was in my teens and early 20s and mid 20s. But yeah, there goes my life. So thank you for watching. I don't know. I think I'll end the video here. I'll see you in my next vlog. But when you say a prayer, say one for me. If you have any book recommendations you want to share with me, or any podcasts, share with me, and I'll be grateful. And I hope that I am able to move and become all that God wants me to become. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.